You are watching BBC Newsday to get all the updated news of the world. Stay tuned to our channel. Now I will tell you all the updated news.
Breaking news, Israel's strike showed Iran's air defenses were woefully unprepared. Here's what Tehran may do next. Update news. What does Israel have in its arsenal that it could use against Iran, who is arming Israel's war on Gaza? Great news, Israel's response to Iran and the factors that will shape it. Listen to the news title so far, now listen to the details.
Israel showed it can take out a key part of Iran's air defenses with a single missile. The S-300 damaged is the most advanced air defense system Iran has acquired from Russia. Iran must field better air defenses like Russia's S-400 to stand a chance against a barrage. In the early hours of April 19th, Israel sent a message to Iran with an air-launched ballistic missile that took out a critical part of its air defense network, a radar belonging to one of its advanced Russian S-300 missiles. The Israeli missile scored a direct hit, and the next day Iran tried to cover up the damage with an inferior replacement radar, according to images obtained by The Economist. The incident in the city of Isfahan may force Tehran to upgrade its air defenses, possibly from more advanced Russian systems, to defend itself from the possibility of larger Israeli missile attacks. I think it's quite clear that Iran is woefully unprepared for such attacks unless it receives significant help from Russia, which it has failed to do so far. Arash Azizi, senior lecturer in history and political science at Clemson University and author of The Shadow Commander. Soleimani, the U.S., and Iran's global ambitions, told Business Insider. The attacks will also have given valuable operational information to the Iranians in charge of missile defense in that they'll have a better sense of their limits, Aziza said. Israel is known to possess ballistic missiles it can launch from fighter jets. One example is its 15-foot-long Rampage missile. Weighing 1,200 pounds, the supersonic missile can hit targets up to 186 miles away. Britain has shown interest in buying it. Freddie Kouiri, a global security analyst for the Middle East and North Africa at the risk intelligence company RAIN, believes it's possible Israel used the Rampage on April 19th. However, he noted that missile debris uncovered in neighboring Iraq suggests it was more likely Israel used Blue Sparrow missiles, which have a purported 1,250-mile range. Either way, the debris in Iraq and local reports of fighter jet activities over Iraqi airspace that same night suggest Israeli fighter jets possibly fired the missiles from a distance closer to the Iranian borders, Kouiri told BI. While Iranian air defenses failed to stop Israel's strike, they have hugely improved in recent years. In the early 2000s, Iranian radars couldn't detect American and Israeli drones operating inside Iranian airspace. Even bulky U.S. tankers supporting missions in Afghanistan and Iraq flew over parts of Iranian airspace undetected. An Israeli F-16I fighter flew over the border area with South Lebanon on March 12, 2024. Getty Images. That's all changed. Iran shot down a sophisticated American RQ-4A Global Hawk surveillance drone flying at high altitude in 2019, claiming it used its indigenous third Cordad system. For the past few years, Iran has heavily invested in its air defense capabilities, but simultaneously knows that it might not be enough against the technologically advanced Israeli or U.S. weapons in a potential conflict, Kouiri said. That's one reason Iran has placed its most sensitive installations in mountainous regions. I believe the April 19th Isfahan strike will likely make the Iranians think more in terms of countering Israel's radar evading systems by improving their radar capabilities while continuing to improve their air defenses, especially because we did not see Iran's best air defense equipment on display, Kouiri said. The S-300 PMU-2 is the most advanced air defense system Iran has acquired from Russia. Following the Isfahan strike, it's likely Tehran will conclude it needs more advanced Russian systems, such as the S-400 they've by some accounts been asking for. Kouiri doesn't rule out the prospect of Iran seeking the S-400, given its more advanced stealth capabilities and ability to track aircraft at lower altitudes. These capabilities are crucial for defending vital Iranian installations, especially given the S-300's failure to intercept Israeli weapons on April 19th. Clemson University's Azizi believes an S-400 acquisition remains crucial for Iran and one of its best bets. Therefore, he anticipates Tehran will continue pushing for it. I think the April episode will certainly have convinced Iranians that they need to be more serious about getting help from Russia, as Isa said. But I think they ultimately have very little leverage unless Moscow wants to play Israel and the West by giving help to Iran. Iran has a strong card to play. It's become a major supplier of Russia's war against Ukraine via thousands of Shahid loitering munitions and hundreds of short-range ballistic missiles. But this may not be enough. Moscow will be the key decision-maker here, not Tehran, as Isa said. The drone help is important for Moscow, but not indispensable. Iran could have a local solution in the form of indigenous systems, such as the third Cordad that felled a global hawk and the Bayvar 373. Theoretically, these Iranian systems should do better than the S-300 given that the Iranians upgraded the Bayvar 373 in 2022, claiming that it's now a competitor of the S-400, Khoury said. In practice, this could go either way, depending on the amount of Israeli missiles that would be hypothetically launched and from where. Khoury anticipates that early detection by Iranian air defenses could give these Iranian-made systems more chances against Israeli missiles. Conversely, Aziza believes these systems are quite unlikely to fare any better than their Russian counterparts. These are impressive systems for Iran to have devised on its own, but they are ultimately no match for Israel's significant offensive capabilities, Aziza said. Read the original article on Business Insider. Israel has airborne and naval capabilities that it can use against Iran, but it must choose any target carefully. On Friday morning, Iranian air defenses shot down 3 drones above its central province of Isfahan. Iran has yet to announce the results of its investigation into the incident, but the U.S. said early on that Israel launched the attack. Israel has not commented despite speculation that it was behind it. Who is arming Israel's war on Gaza? Who is arming Israel's war on Gaza? Weapons manufacturers could face legal scrutiny for supplying Israel. Israel's war on Gaza, which has killed at least 31,923 Palestinians, has relied mostly on Western arms and technology. Which producers are supplying Israel with arms? And could there be legal consequences? Presenter, Elizabeth Puranam. Guests, Sarah Yeager, Washington Director of Human Rights Watch, Wendella de Vries, co-founder of Stop Wapenhandel, an independent Dutch campaign opposed to the arms trade, Brian Finucane, Senior Advisor to the U.S. at the International Crisis Group in Washington, D.C. Israel's response to Iran and the factors that will shape it. Matters both domestic and international are shaping Israel's response to Iran's attack. Speculation is mounting over how Israel will respond to Iran's weekend attack, itself a response to Israel's April 1st strike on the Iranian embassy in Damascus, which killed a top Iranian general and other Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps officials. Despite decades-long tensions, direct attacks between the two regional foes had been unheard of. Typically, exchanges are carried out through Iran's proxy forces in the region or Israeli intelligence operations. The international community has made repeated statements urging Israel to exercise restraint and not respond to Iran's retaliation, warning of a spiraling conflict. This approach stands in contrast to the messaging from the West regarding Israel's assault on Gaza. Iran's attack with more than 300 drones and missiles was telegraphed well ahead of time and nearly entirely intercepted by an international array of fighter aircraft and Israel's Iron Dome defense system. A direct counterstrike from Israel risks triggering a wider regional war, potentially one drawing in many of the Western powers that have backed Israel. Responding to pressure from United Kingdom Foreign Secretary David Cameron, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel makes its own decisions. But analysts have suggested that the situation may be more nuanced, with the Israeli public exerting an almost defining influence upon Netanyahu and his cabinet. The question to be examined is which sector of the Israeli public will have more weight.